everyone, I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Jayson.
And today, Jayson wants to talk about...
Star Trek.
Hey, let's talk about Star Trek. We've been in kind of Trek mood lately. The last couple days, we've been doing a bunch of fun Star Trek stuff with the kids. And what did we watch last night, Jayson?
We watched Generations.
We watched Star Trek Generations. Look, we're not going to spend the whole time just doing Plinkett impressions, okay? But yes, we did watch the Plinkett video this morning. Hi, Michael McAllister, there in the comments. Hi, Brightburns. Good to see you guys. Welcome if you're watching live. Welcome if you're watching after the fact. We have no plan. This is totally haphazard. Jayson just wanted to talk about Star Trek, so we're going to talk about Star Trek.
Yes.
So, Jayson, you've been in a fair number of Star Trek videos that we've done on the channel, so you've talked about Star Trek here and there a little bit.
The first video I was ever in was Trexperts.
Was it really?
So, yeah.
You might want to speak up a little bit.
Yeah.
So people can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kids in Star Trek.
Oh, well, yeah,
And
when you were an infant.
old.
Not like you remember that.
No, I don't, but I have watched that video.
I saw the thumbnail for that the other day. For some reason, I was looking at some of our old videos and playlists and things, and I noticed that. I'd forgotten that we did that.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff that we've done on the channel that I did not remember doing, but that was one of them. Yeah, so technically the first video you were ever in. Because I was sitting there thinking, I thought you meant like the first video you actually showed up and said things in, but you just mean that you appeared.
That I appeared in, yeah.
At all, yeah. Not counting, like, when your mom was pregnant. But just you actually physically, being there. So, like I said, you've been in some Star Trek videos. You've talked about Star Trek on the channel before. We used to do a lot of Trek content. We haven't done any in a long time. And I miss doing Star Trek Club. I've been talking real hard with Brandon and Adam lately about bringing it back once or twice a month. So, those of you guys watching this that miss Trexperts, that, well, I mean that too, but that miss the old Star Trek Club show, never fear, because it's probably going to come back soon. Not as frequently, because I don't have a ton of time with evenings, and I've been streamlining and stuff, and so I don't want to just suddenly put a bunch more stuff on my plate, but we really miss it. We're going to try to bring it back, and we've been talking about doing something with Brandon. So anyway, isn't that exciting?
Yes.
So that'll come back. So I've been in more of a Trek mood lately, and I gotta say, just for myself, with new Trek being kind of awful, with the exception of Strange New Worlds, which is fine, like still not really, you know, what I want, and it's still hard to think of it as full-on canon, but it's at least feels like Star Trek. They're at least telling real stories. I at least know what the heck is happening when I watch it. But with the exception of that, new Trek and where we're at with that is just got me bummed to the point where I just couldn't even really get excited about going back and watching old Star Trek. And it wasn't until a couple weeks ago that I finally started kind of getting my mood back, my mojo back for Star Trek. And a lot of that is, I have to credit the new video game that came out, which is called Star Trek Resurgence, which is the perfect title because I feel like I'm having a resurgence for my fandom now.
I didn't realize that's what that was called.
Yeah, and I've talked about it a little bit here and there on the channel, so I'm not gonna, regurgitate all of that because I want to let Jayson talk about Star Trek because he wanted to talk about Star Trek.
Yes.
But I know you want to play that with me.
Yeah.
And I want to try to do a playthrough on the channel for that after I've done one run because I didn't want to not know anything about where the story was going while broadcasting because I'll miss story points and I'll talk over stuff, and I didn't want to do that. But it's set just after Nemesis and feels like a thing that somebody made 20 years and put in a drawer in the best way possible. It's like they were completely... I've said this before, but it was like they were totally, unaffected by the passage of time and what newer Star Trek has been doing and all of that. It's just really back to brass tacks about what Star Trek was always about, and it's all about ethical conundrums and making difficult choices and trying to figure out what the right thing is to do, and it's all about interpersonal relationships, and it's exciting. It's really cool to get, that kind of Star Trek again, even in game form, and it's about... And it's done in the kind of Telltale style.
Yeah.
So, quick plug again for that. I think people should be playing that. Okay.
Yeah.
Lots of folks in the comments here, and we'll see if anybody is asking questions. And if you want to ask us anything to help us direct this conversation, which is just simply, broadly, about Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Feel free to do that.
Yeah, we got all the Star Trek stuff.
Thomas Ledbetter, hi everyone. Also been in a big Star Trek mood too, so I'm ripe for this. That's awesome. DNA, what Plinkett video did you guys watch? We watched the Generations one, because we just watched Generations last night.
Yeah.
And has Jayson watched other Plinkett / Red Letter Media videos?
Yes,
he has
I have.
indeed. And what's your favorite?
My favorite is Ghostbusters 2016 with the Wizard of Oz.
The most famous movie ever made.
You know that's in your movie too now, right?
Jason and I quote Plinkett all the time.
All the time.
And never fear, I don't let Jason run off and watch Red Letter Media by himself. There's a lot of stuff there that's highly inappropriate still for his age group and for, you know, where he is maturity-wise. And some of the stuff that I show him is, you know, somewhat inappropriate too, but I'm there with him and, you know, we talk about it afterwards. But anyway, yeah, I've let him watch a few things. And, you know, I'll fast forward through certain bits with especially the Star Wars reviews. Bright Burns, I like J.J. Abrams' Star Trek more than I like J.J. Abrams' Star Wars. For me, it's the same across the board. The first one is fine, and the second one is god-awful. Now, as far as Star Wars goes, he didn't make the second film, but his second film is convoluted nonsense. Although, in certain ways, maybe more entertaining than Darkness, to be brutally honest with you. But, yeah, his second Star Trek movie is really bad, and his second Star Wars movie is really bad. And I like his first Star Wars movie, okay. I mean, it didn't end up ultimately going anywhere, so it was like a fine first chapter for a thing that didn't end up continuing. And then his first Star Trek movie is highly entertaining, but there's not a lot of a story there.
Yeah.
Which could be said about a Star Wars movie, ultimately.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm watching through the movies.
And then we'll watch the Plinkett for that, and you can watch him talk about Star Trek.
I have seen that. I just haven't seen the actual movie.
You just haven't seen the movie,
yeah. Same with Insurrection.
Tom Atkins says it's hard not to say Star Trek in Mike Talaska's voice. Right? It kind of is. Clone Army 66. Hey guys, glad to see you talking about Trek again. Yeah, and again, kind of haphazard. Nothing specific today, but like I said, we are talking about bringing Trek Club back, and it'll be more or less the old format. We'll spin the wheel and pick episodes to watch, and we're going to start with the Star Trek Beyond commentary, which we still never did. So Brandon, Adam, and I did all 12 of the movies up until Beyond, and we never got around to Beyond. And we put it on the wheel for Star Trek Club, and the plan was always to do it on that show when it came up, and it never came up.
Oh, no.
We did 27 shows. It never came up.
Yeah.
DNA. Star Trek has really never struck me as a kid-friendly property. Interesting. Not that it's inappropriate, but it never seemed like something that would appeal to kids under the age of, like, 12. And yet, there was a big segment of my age group when I was a kid that really liked Star Trek, was really into it. And it was sold to us pretty hard with merchandising and such. I think it's because, like, not kid-friendly in the sense that, in, like, the Ninja Turtle sense or something, but in a watch with your family sort of sense.
Yeah.
So, like, it was wholesome entertainment. Not that there wasn't, you know, kind of a horror bent sometimes to TOS and, you know, it really all of it. I mean, you know, every now and again you'll get something that feels very much like kind of a horror-driven episode. Doctor Who was that times 10.
Yeah. But
you definitely had that some with Star Trek, and obviously you'd have, like, really heavy subject matter and allegory.
And that was the case with a lot of sci-fi.
Yeah, that's just sci-fi in general.
That's just sci-fi in general.
Yeah, but, like, I guess my point is, even in the 60s, Star Trek appealed to kids quite a bit. And I think it was a thing that you could watch on multiple levels. So kids enjoyed it for the aesthetic, for the atmosphere, the background, just being in space, the props, the phasers and the tricorders and the spaceships and all of that, and what action was there. And the adults enjoyed it for the character drama and the ideas and the you know, the high concept stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and the kids, you know, obviously would enjoy the high concept stuff too. Like, you know, like Mirror Universe blows your mind when you're a kid.
Yeah.
You know, the board kind of blows your mind when you're a kid.
Yeah.
Etc. Busted Sim, you did all 12 movies before that, but never went beyond that. I see what you did there. Yeah, Dante says, I watched Star Trek with my dad as a kid. We all loved Worf. Yeah, that's kind of the point I was trying to make a second ago, which is it was not a kid thing in the Ninja Turtle sense, but it was in the watch with your family sense.
Yeah.
Like it was wholesome entertainment. Everybody would sit down, and the parents didn't have to worry that there would be anything that would give their kids nightmares, or that was just super inappropriate for their kids, and the kids could enjoy it on somewhat that toyetic level. I mean, it's almost in a really weird way, because obviously these are different things. It's kind of like Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Where like Ghostbusters nobody thought of that as a kid's thing. Then you could see how it massively appealed to kids.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, Jayson, your name is in the title, so let's give you the floor.
Okay.
And I want to do sort of like what we did with Superman, and just kind of throw some questions at you.
All right, throw some questions.
And you guys feel free to do this as well. Jayson, what is, and forgive me, folks, if we rehash anything we've talked about before, but Jayson, what is, at the moment anyway, your favorite overall Star Trek series? I know what it used to be.
TNG.
Is it TNG now?
It is TNG. Well, it's been TNG.
You used to say Enterprise.
So Enterprise has always been my jokingly favorite, but it's my second favorite.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize you were trolling me when you said that.
Yeah, and then TOS, and then Voyager, and then DS9, just because I've only seen 9 episodes.
I'm curious to see if DS9 comes up further on that list when you finally watch a lot of it.
Yeah.
Because I want to at least take you through Dominion War, but it's better if we can watch it from at least season 2 on.
Yeah, because the thing is, why
don't you scoot your chair up?
I really like what I have seen of DS9, but it's not as good as Voyager. Like what I've seen of Voyager, it's not as good as what I've seen. I've seen all of TOS. I've seen most of TNG, and I've seen most of Enterprise. So.
Donnie Pearson, hello, Cap, Jayson, and all, and happy Superman Day. Okay, so that's ridiculous, right? We did one of these a couple weeks ago. Jayson really wants to talk about Superman, and now it's Superman Day? I didn't even know that, and we're talking about Star Trek. All right. So then I don't even know when First Contact Day is. We'll totally not think about Star Trek on First Contact Day, and then we'll be, talking about, Ghostbusters or something.
Yeah.
Hope everyone's weekend was well, despite Simon Bennett leaving Power Rangers after Cosmic Fury. I haven't been keeping up with that show, so I don't even know those characters, really. Sorry, I'll ask you some more questions here in a second, Jayson. I was just lots of comments here.
Yes.
That I was checking real quick. Dante, as I've always maintained that Star Trek is the smartest show on TV. I think Star Trek really pioneered more sophisticated, thoughtful science fiction storytelling. I'm not going to say that it is the smartest show there's ever been. There's a lot of really dumb Star Trek, and
yes.
It's always been inconsistent in quality. And I'm not even talking about just new Trek now. Back when I was growing up, TNG, there were a lot of good episodes, there were a lot of really crappy episodes, a lot of mediocre episodes, and then the first 2 seasons were rough. I mean, it took a long time for it to really find its footing, and it's always been hit and miss. Even the original series, there's that old Futurama line that Fry has where he says, you remember the original 79 episodes? 30 good ones? There's some truth to that.
Yeah.
So I think it's inconsistent, but when it's great, it's stellar.
Yeah.
And it's pushing envelopes, and it's trying things that have never been tried before, and it's really making you think, and it's challenging you, or it's just massively entertaining and goes to high concept places for the first time that other things haven't done, or it does things maybe a little bit cooler that have been attempted before. But I would say in the science fiction realm, Babylon 5 really inches it out as far as smart television goes, as far as intelligent television.
Yeah.
I think at its smartest and at its most challenging, some of the Tennant era Doctor Who probably gets to the heights or beyond, and I can't even use that word, of where Star Trek ever was. So I'll fight you on that a little bit, but I think my love for smarter, character-driven, idea-driven, especially storytelling, starts at Star Trek. Most assuredly. DNA says great Star Trek is stellar. See, I just gave, and he makes fun of me for that word choice. I can't even use any words anymore.
No.
Everything is a reference. Everything is a reference.
Now every single sentence you say, you have to go, no pun intended.
Brightburn says the original pilot for Star Trek was rough. The one with Pike, that is the Cage, and I love the Cage. It makes a lot of sense why the network asked Roddenberry to make another pilot. And of course, that was unprecedented. It was crazy that they didn't just say, no, it's not going to series. They asked for another pilot because they saw the worth in it. And that actually, I won't go into all of the history with this, but that it also had a lot to do with Lucille Ball just getting Star Trek off the ground in the first place. I don't know if you know this, but like Lucille Ball is, we all massively have to thank for the fact that there is Star Trek at all. But anyway, the Cage was a wonderful kind of heady, like somewhat dry science fiction movie. But it would not have had the legs for a regular series if it wasn't, if it didn't like evolve into something closer to what TOS was as it went along. Like the network was actually right with their instincts about that needing to be a little bit more action driven.
Yeah.
To keep people interested and wanting to watch on a regular basis. Anyway, let me ask you some questions.
Okay,
sorry. Did you have anything to add? What do you think of the Cage?
I like the Cage.
Do you remember what happens in the Cage?
Yeah, there's a lady, and he gets, and there's a Pike.
There's a lady.
Yeah, there's a lady. Isn't there a lady that's actually a man? I don't remember, but it's.
So, there's an androgynous race called the Telosians.
Okay.
And the lead one is played by a woman, but it's an androgynous race.
Okay.
So they don't really have gender, and the voice is masculine. And in 1964, when that was made, it was wonderfully strange and odd and creepy. But
Pike gets kidnapped.
Anyway, sorry, yeah. When you said lady, I thought you meant the girl that was on Talos for it. I thought that's what
I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. But then you started talking about a lady that was a man. No, she wasn't a man.
Didn't she turn out
deformed.
To be someone else?
No, it turns out that she was in a horrible accident and her body was all messed up.
Oh yeah, she pretends that she's younger, but she's actually all messed up and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's
she
not
pretends that she's pretty.
It wasn't even about her age. Yeah, it was about her beauty. It was that her.
Okay.
Yeah, spoilers for a 60-year-old thing, but yeah, she was wrecked beyond belief, and the Telosians put her back together the best they could, but they didn't know human anatomy.
Yes. Oh yeah, and the women.
The women. You remember that part?
I remember.
You remember
the women.
Okay, I'm gonna go through the Star Trek shows before New Trek.
Okay.
And not just to take huge pot shots at New Trek, but you haven't seen hardly any of that.
No, I've seen Strange New Worlds. I've seen some of.
You saw a couple episodes of Discovery when it started.
Yeah,
but
and
then
I saw
that went to a rated R place very quickly.
Of season 1 of Picard, and then I said
and then that went to a rated R place very quickly. And
yeah.
The torture stuff with Icheb you couldn't handle.
Yeah. Well, and I was like 9.
Which was there for no good reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I also just kind of hated it.
Yeah, it's bad. But I just want to go through the series that you know, and I want you to throw at me, even for the ones you don't know all that well, like DS9.
Yeah.
A favorite character.
A favorite character.
And it doesn't have to be a regular character. It could even be recurring or one shot or something. But just give me the first character that comes to your mind. I love that character. Are you ready?
Yes.
So who is your favorite character? I'm going to jump around. Who is your favorite character in Voyager?
In Voyager?
Yes, jumping around.
The Doctor. Or 7 and 9. One of them.
Yeah.
Both of them. I guess 7 and 9.
Which is appropriate because that is a couple that they were, for a minute, pushing real hard like they were going to get together, and then they didn't, and that was a massive mistake.
Yeah.
And the Chakotay thing never worked.
Yeah.
And it came way too late. It could have worked, but it just came way too late.
Yeah.
And I'm also in the camp these days that says that I was on the fence about this for a long time. Chakotay and Janeway also should have gotten together.
Right.
And when they were messing around with that for a while, that was working. And then they just abandoned everything serialized.
Yeah.
And that was the studio's fault as much as anybody. But okay, so the Doctor.
The Doctor.
Okay. Yes. Enterprise.
Enterprise.
Yeah.
Trip.
Trip Tucker?
Trip Tucker.
Why do you like Trip Tucker?
'Cause he's great.
Do you just like his accent, or
I like his accent,
is it
and
something about his
he's like
personality?
The funny guy. I like the funny characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. They usually have good subplots. in episodes, and I like subplots in Star
They
Trek.
did play Phlox more as the comic relief in that show, but he wasn't irritating like Neelix was.
Yeah, Phlox is
But you're
probably a second, like 709 is a second for me for Enterprise. Yeah, it's Trip and then Phlox and then the other guy that's like the best friend of Trip. I haven't
Reed.
seen
Trip and Reed are
Trip
wonderful.
and Reed are
Yeah.
wonderful. I haven't seen Star Trek in a while.
Yeah, but you wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, I know.
TOS.
TOS. At this point, probably Scotty.
Oh, did I miss a super chat?
Yeah.
Tom put in a $2 super chat and asked if we'd seen any more Star Trek Prodigy, but he spelled Star Trek with 2 E's, so it's Star Trek. We have not seen any more Star Trek Prodigy. I couldn't deal with it after the hold on to your butts grab handles. And after I heard that line in a Star Trek episode, I turned it off and never again. And I kid you not, in the middle of that episode, like 5 minutes into that episode, Hologram Janeway says, "Hold on to your butts grab handles." And I went, and making a big deal out of freaking dune buggies, like that was a good idea in Nemesis. And I was like, no, I'm good.
No.
And I wasn't real into it at that point anyway, because it was another one of those shows that was called Star Trek, but it seemed like they were doing everything they could to
Not
skirt
do any
around Star Trek. Yeah.
At all.
And I'm not saying that you can't make a cool Star Trek show that isn't just people in uniform set on a ship, but wouldn't it be nice if we had one good one? And finally, Strange New Worlds kind of gave us that.
Yeah.
So, like, now I'd be more okay with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you know, you led with Discovery and it didn't work, and that show kind of hated the general, you know, concept and precepts of Star Trek. And then after that, they're like,
make a show if you don't like that stuff.
and then Patrick Stewart's like, I'll do Star Trek again as long as I don't have to, you know, wear a uniform or do any Star Trek stuff. And they were like, sure. So they look like fugitives in every episode. And then they do Prodigy. And it's like, let's aim a show at little kids and teenagers. And we'll have Star Trek in the title. And these kids will have never seen Star Trek. So they won't even really get what that's supposed to look like. And then we'll also make a show about a bunch of kind of riffraff that are sort of fugitives.
Yeah.
Stuck out in the Delta Quadrant.
Yeah.
And people have told me that show is really good, but I don't trust it, and I can't get excited about looking back in on it.
Yeah.
And I promise we won't talk about New Trek this whole time, but just since we're here, I'll also mention, because somebody will bring it up, I'm sure. I have tried to get into Lower Decks, or at least to watch it 3 times. And and people keep telling me, like, that's where, before Strange New Worlds, that's where the good New Trek is. Like, that's where, even though it's a parody of Star Trek and it's goofball and you can't look at it as canon because it feels like a, you know, silly parody show with a bunch of crazy stuff that wouldn't be in canon. The people making it like Star Trek, and it does fun lore stuff and whatever. So I watched the pilot and reviewed it with Brandon, and we hated it. And then the second episode, I got halfway through and I shut it off. And a few months later, I went, I'll try it one more time. And I didn't finish that episode. I just started watching the next episode. And I did the same thing. I got halfway through it and I went, I can't get into the show. I can't do it. And so I've never watched any more of that. That show apparently has a comm badge with a face that, like, talks to people. Got like a, I don't know what his name is. It's like a card. It's like Mr. DNA.
Oh.
I don't know if it's like on a holodeck or something because I haven't watched it, but it's got like arms and legs and it's got a you know, a face, and it's like
Weird.
I don't know what his name, Kami or Badgie or something. I don't remember, but yeah, Hallmark made a Christmas ornament of it this year. Oh, Lewis Cox is complimenting my Star Trek tattoo. Thanks very much. Yeah. I'm really happy with it. I spent hours upon hours trying to land on the right image for that.
Yeah.
It was really hard to decide. And I almost went with the Borg logo, the hand. Almost did that. I'm sorry, Jason. This show has your name in it, and I keep talking.
Yeah, stop talking.
Okay.
We're not done with the whole thingy thing, and you just
sorry.
went off on New Trek.
I keep going off. I'm going to quit doing that.
Yeah.
My apologies. Okay. So, you like the Doctor.
Yeah.
And you like Trip Tucker.
Yeah.
And in TOS, you like...
Scotty.
Scotty?
Yeah.
That didn't take any time.
Well, I already said it.
Oh, did I miss it?
Yeah. And
Why do you like
started
Why do you like Scotty so much? More for TOS or for movies?
More for movies. For T for tier for TOS, I don't know. Probably still Scotty though. Maybe Chekhov, but also that's more for movies. Like, I don't.
Okay, so who in actual TOS do you like most? I mean, it's hard to pick anybody
McCoy?
outside of the. Yeah, I was gonna say outside of the triad, right?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I was always kind of more of a McCoy guy.
Nurse Chapel.
Nurse Chapel. There's an outside.
I don't know. I like everyone in that show. You can't. There's not a bad character in that show. So like
You
main
like-
character.
You like Mabinga? And they make him a completely different character in Strange New Worlds. He's cool. I mean, I like him, but he's got an accent now. He's a totally different character.
Yeah.
TNG. Who is your favorite character in TNG?
In TNG.
You like Scotty because of relics, right?
Yeah.
Is Scotty your favorite character in TNG?
No. What are characters in? I just watched TNG.
When your grandfather was in diapers.
And then they reused that same line in Generation.
I'll leave you to work, Mr.
Mr.
LaForge.
LaForge. TOS. I mean TNG. It's LaForge.
It's Mr. LaForge.
It's either LaForge or Barkley.
Yeah. Well, everybody loves Barkley.
Yeah.
That's a big fan favorite. What's your favorite Barkley episode? Let's go there.
First one.
Yeah? Hollow Pursuits?
Yeah, Hollow Pursuits.
Mine is Nth Degree.
Nth Degree, that one's good too.
And I like him a lot in Voyager,
Is
too.
he good in Voyager? Yeah.
His Voyager episodes are pretty cool. We can watch one of those this week if you want.
Sure.
Have you seen those?
I've seen one of them, I think.
Have you seen them?
I've seen the one where he's a hologram, but
Well, there's two where he's a hologram.
well, I've seen the one where he's the I don't know. I've seen one of them.
But like the early one?
I think it was the later one actually, but I'm not sure.
With the Ferengi?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you seen the weird one where, and this is the first one he shows up in, but it's not actually that character, where a Barkley hologram tells the Doctor to blow up the ship?
That's the one that I saw.
Yeah.
Yes. I was mixing some episodes up.
That is a consummate Braga episode.
Yes.
And where he's all, you're a real person, and he scans himself, and he's a human being, he's got blood and stuff.
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks a lot for being here with us, this random video we're doing this afternoon.
Yeah.
People just wanted to talk about Star Trek.
Yeah.
Plushy DX says, how about TAS? How much animated series have
Oh
you
my
seen?
gosh, that show's amazing.
Do you know why I can't watch animated series?
Why?
Because the soundtrack gets stuck in my head.
Yeah, the soundtrack's great.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, TOS has this problem too, but the animated series especially.
Yeah.
They've got like 3 tracks that they just reuse over and over again.
That's fair, yeah.
And after I've seen a TAS episode, I'll go to bed and all I have in my head is, BOW! Ba-da-da-da-da! BOW! I just can't deal with it.
So I have seen 4 episodes. I don't know. I've seen the pilot, and I've seen the triple episode, and I've seen the one with Big Spock, and I've seen the one where the computer becomes alive.
Oh, yeah.
That's the best episode of that series.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
It's
but
insane.
A lot of TAS is ridiculous.
A lot of TAS is insane.
Yeah.
Especially Big Spock.
A lot of people's favorite episode is the return to the Guardian of Forever episode where they go back in time with young Spock on the Ceylon.
Oh.
And all of that.
I didn't realize they did that.
I haven't thought about TAS in a while, so I'm really rusty. But there's a funky one that honestly steals lore from a different series, I think from like Discworld or something in the second season, that what's his face Chekhov actor wrote. And I like and he's not in the show, but he got to write an episode.
Cool.
Koenig, and I like that one.
So have you seen all of TAS?
Yes, your mom and I reviewed it on Trexperts years ago.
Oh man, that's awesome. I want to see all of that at some point, but it's just weird. I can't get through I can't get through that in any amount of time. I have to watch an episode a week.
It's not real bingeable, no.
No.
The correct answer for favorite character with TAS though is Imres. Imres is the cat on the bridge.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
The slaver weapon, yeah. HB Haga. AMC, Cap and Jayson, did either of you ever invest any time into Star Trek Online or any other Star Trek video games for that matter? I've tried to get into that a couple times, and I just didn't like the space combat. I thought it was really boring, and it took too long. So the exploration stuff is cool, because the graphics were nice enough, and there were a lot of really cool Easter eggs, and there's a lot of great attention to detail and stuff, just walking around the Starfleet headquarters and stuff, and going to planets and things. But no, I haven't spent a lot of time with it. I kind of want to go back to that at some point. Have you played anything Star Trek video game wise?
I've played the Voyager game on PS2.
Elite Force?
Elite Force.
That's a port from a PC game.
Yeah.
Which is based on the Quake engine.
Yes. And I've played the Voyager arcade game several times.
Kind of sad that we don't have that anymore. That used to be at one of our local theaters. But I have the top of one. Let me grab that.
You have the top of one?
I bought this recently.
What? Wait, really?
Yeah.
Do you have the top of one?
I bought this at the pinball convention in Texas this year.
What?
I didn't even show it to you.
No, you never show me anything you get.
There's a vendor at that show that always has these, and I try to get one whenever I'm there, if they have one of a game that I like. And I got a Virtua Fighter one at one point, and then he happened to have this last time, and I think I paid $20 for that.
That's crazy.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. No, that's really cool, actually.
Here, I'll put this by the Gorn.
Yeah.
We'll just keep putting Star Trek decor behind us here.
Yeah, this was all my fault, by the way.
Busted Sim says it's weird there's never been a Star Trek platformer. No, I would say it's unfortunate there's never been a good one. Because there was a Genesis, and I think it was on Super Nintendo, DS9 game that is a platformer.
No, I've played that. Oh, and I played the TNG game
bad.
on SNES.
Yeah, the other games had platforming components to them.
Yeah.
Right?
I could never get into that game because it was just so puzzly.
I say platform. Actually, the other console games were usually like top down in their action.
Yeah.
And then a lot more point and click stuff when you're on the ship.
I didn't know how to do any of that.
Donnie Pearson, I got 2 Star Trek games on my smartphone, Fleet Command and Timelines.
I played Fleet Command.
I've seen both of those pop up, but I haven't actually gotten into any of them.
I've played a little bit of Fleet Command, but it was a long time ago.
Forgive me for being a prude. When I see anything, or just negative, when I see anything that's sold real hard on Michael Burnham, I just completely lose interest, and I don't want to check it out. So I mean, I think Timelines does that. Like, those might be really cool games, and they might be more, older stuff than newer stuff.
Yeah. But
anything that takes that stuff seriously and actually counts it, I have a real tough time getting excited about. Like the Janeway autobiography, I've read the Kirk one, and I've got the Picard one, which I've started but I haven't finished. Mm-hmm. I thumbed through the Janeway one, and it was written late enough that Discovery had started, and there's an entry somewhere where she mentions Michael Burnham, and I'm like, nope, I'm done. Can't do it. Maybe someday I'll just try to read past it, but I didn't buy that. Michael Burnham was in it. Good Old Gamer, Star Trek Resurgence is like a Telltale game and just came out. People say it's pretty good. I mentioned that at the beginning. I'm about 3, maybe 4 hours in, and I'm really enjoying it. And and that's the big thing that has finally gotten me wanting to do Star Trek stuff again.
I do want to play that at some point. I also want to play more Telltale Batman.
Yeah, we need to get you back into that.
Yeah.
That is really violent, but we need to get you back into that. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's amusing to me that people know me so well that this doesn't faze anybody at all. Like maybe I just haven't noticed. I haven't seen one comment where something like, "Oh my God, what's with all the Star Trek stuff?" Like nobody's surprised by this. Lewis Cox says Starfleet Command is good to a certain degree. A rousing endorsement. Okay, Jayson, do you have a favorite DS9 character? Given that you're not huge on that show.
DS9.
What did you ultimately say for TNG? You said Barclay, right?
I said I said Barkley and LaForge. For DS9, it's probably, man, I really like that cast.
Well, everybody's just fully developed and three-dimensional.
Yeah, I really like Odo. I really like
change
Dax.
them over time because it gets serialized.
I really like Kira. I really like what's his face from TNG.
He's my favorite. What's his face? No, that's O'Brien.
O'Brien.
Yeah,
he's great. I'd have to probably say Kira. Probably.
Oh, really?
Probably.
Yeah, I remember when that show was on, there was a big contingent of fans that thought Kira was obnoxious and annoying, and they didn't like her. And I think your mom was that way at one point, and I think she's come around on that character to some degree, but...
Yeah, it's either Kira or I don't know.
Garrick?
Garrick, yeah.
Garrick's your mom's favorite.
Yeah, Garrick's great.
You know what I thought about doing for your mom for her birthday? And she won't watch this, but nobody tell her. I don't know how you guys would anyway. But you know what I was thinking about maybe doing. I'm glad you brought that up because you mentioned Garrett because I'd forgotten that I had this idea, and I still need to get your mom maybe one more thing. So maybe I'll do this. That actor, his name has not come to me, is on Cameo.
Oh wow!
And she loves that character.
Does he do in character things?
Not in character, but he'll go into that voice a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's very much about the fact that he was Garrick.
Yeah.
Like I've looked at his page and some of the cameos he's done for people, and he's reasonable. I think his cameos were, I don't know, maybe $30-$40. I can't remember, but it was pretty reasonable.
I've been looking on Cameo for a while, and just nothing's like jumped out at me.
There's a few people I've kicked around, but some people whose prices just seem kind of unreasonable to me.
Yeah.
For like what they're, how long the messages are and what they're making and that kind of thing. Like I thought about doing one. We're getting off of Star Trek, but just real briefly, I thought about seeing if I could get Michael Rosenbaum to do something for Counting Crypto Freaks through Cameo.
Yeah.
But he charges like $200 for a cameo.
Some people do.
And I mean, it would be worth it if I reused it, maybe. So I mean, I've kicked that around, but somebody's gonna tell me his name, aren't they? No, nobody's brought him. It's not coming to me, and I know what it is too. It's not just on the tip of my tongue, but I've just got Robert O'Reilly bouncing around in my brain. And I'm like, no, that's Gowron.
Busted Sim Jayson was the absolute worst episode of the whole Star Trek franchise you've ever seen. Not counting any new Trek, cause, you said whole franchise, but man,
that gets in a different realm of
there's some really bad Enterprise episodes, but I don't know if it's as bad as
Andrew Robinson. Thank you, Busted Sim. I knew somebody would do that. I mean, I knew it just wasn't in my head. More tea? You don't like that episode?
Not more tea.
Good tea, nice house.
Yeah, good tea, nice house. That episode's not good.
That's called The Survivors.
Yeah, I don't like that house. I mean, I
you
don't like that.
You don't like that house?
I don't like that.
I don't like that episode because I don't like that house. Why would anybody live in that house? This is the worst house. Matthew Bay's Sisko is my favorite Star Trek captain.
There's also some really bad season 1 episodes, but I don't know.
Sisko is definitely close to my favorite DS9 character.
What's your least favorite episode?
Well, if I have to go
is it
classically what I've always said.
Is it the one in DS9?
Which one?
When you and mom were looking through it, you just
Time's Orphan.
Yeah, Time's
is
Orphan.
an episode I skip if I can. Yeah, the zombie Vulcan episode in season 4 Enterprise. I cannot, or season 3. I cannot watch. It's season 3.
Yeah.
No, it's 3.
Is it 3?
I think.
Okay. Well, I've never seen it.
Yeah, because I think it's
in.
No, I think it's in The Expanse.
Okay.
It would have to be season 3 because they're in The Expanse.
Okay.
I think that's why it's zombie Vulcans, because they're in The Expanse.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't. We skipped through some of the bad stuff.
But the one that I didn't want to turn you off to the show because there's more bad than good in that, and there's more of a divide between the really crappy stuff and the fine okay stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. I've always said that when your pilot is one of your best episodes, it's kind of a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, unless everything's just of a quality, but...
Well, I mean, I think there's some... I'm not the biggest fan of the pilot, so...
See, and I still say it's one of their better episodes.
Yeah.
And that's just saying something because I don't think Enterprise has a lot of great episodes, but anyway, the one that I've always gone to is an Enterprise episode, and it is season 3, and I like season 3, but it's Carpenter Street.
Oh, yeah, it's the one where they go back in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to the drug episode.
Yeah, the drug episode.
And with T'Pol ordering food at a McDonald's knockoff.
Yeah.
Which is one of the better scenes, I guess. But yeah, that episode's awful. Matthew Bay's Turnabout Intruder is probably the most offensive. Either that or Code of Honor. Yeah, and Code of Honor is a easy choice that everybody always complains about. But yeah, it's awful, and you skip it when you can.
The last episode of Enterprise.
The last episode of Enterprise is indisputably one of the worst episodes of Star Trek. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really rough, and was a mistake and just shouldn't have been made. Because I don't know if you've seen the two-parter right before that with RoboCop.
No, I haven't.
But
with RoboCop.
Yeah, the guy who played RoboCop is the villain in that. Yeah.
RoboCop is in that.
Yeah,
Whoa.
He's great. Well, but what's really funny is he is also in Darkness playing almost the same character. It's really weird.
Weird
that they did that. Yeah.
Do you like the Borg episode in Enterprise?
Yes. Yeah, Regeneration is one of the better episodes of that show.
Because
it's got a really good sense of continuity, and it's I mean, there's weird stuff in it. It ain't perfect. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
The whole idea that the Denobulans are able to fight off Borg nanoprobes like that.
Yeah.
You'd think. I guess the first time around in the original timeline, because I've always thought of that as a second timeline you're watching through, and especially when you're watching Regeneration, it watches that way because it's completely affected by the events of First Contact. Like, it doesn't happen if the Borg didn't go back in time. So now you got to be in another timeline. I had a whole theory about this years and years ago before we soft rebooted and then did whatever we're doing with New Trek, where I had the 3 timeline theory. And part of the idea was that by Enterprise you're in. I won't go through this whole thing because I don't even know if I can remember this whole thing. We have a video on the channel about it from years ago, but I think my idea was that by Regeneration, you're actually in yet a third timeline. But the idea is you've actually been through all this before, but now the Borg went back in time in First Contact, and Picard didn't fix everything. Remember, there were a bunch of people that got killed.
Yeah.
In the silo that nobody talks about. It's like, well, the future would be different now. People died. But anyway, those were people who died.
A Trek theory.
But anyway, my whole point is, maybe the first time around, just somehow nobody ever realized that Denobulans were somewhat resistant to assimilation. Yeah. Because one never got assimilated. Yeah. But that seemed easy to me. We'd never seen another species that had that. Like, you had to be like species 8472 or something. Yeah. Before you couldn't be assimilated. Yeah. Busta Sim says these are the voyages is basically what Star Trek is now, ironically. I don't know if I agree with that. But I mean, does he just mean in the kind of almost in an almost self-parody kind of way, or it's just Star Trek that doesn't get Star Trek? I'm not. It's bad, certainly. And it's self-aware in the wrong ways, but I'm sorry.
Do you like Yesterday's Enterprise?
I love Yesterday's Enterprise.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's
you
one of my
need to
favorite
get,
TNG
You need
episodes.
to get TOS and DS9 standees.
I should look into
Because
that.
you
Yeah.
have Enterprise and you have TNG and you have Voyager over there.
Yeah. Well, and I got Archer as a present from my grandma when Enterprise was on.
Oh.
And Worf I found online locally like years and years ago. On like, I don't know, Craigslist or something. And then that 7 of 9 I bought at a convention. And that's actually signed by Jerry Ryan. I didn't meet her. Most of my signatures are from actors that I met, but that one I just found. It was pretty inexpensive, so I went ahead and bought that. But yeah, if I could buy any character in standee form from those two shows, Jason, who do you think I should get?
You should get Bashir.
Oh, Bashir?
I don't
Sure.
know.
Well,
why.
I don't have a doctor.
You should, yeah.
So that'd be cool.
Yeah, or
I would rather have a Dax.
a Dax. Yeah, you should get a Dax.
Probably just because the discrepancy
Or a
in
Cisco.
the discrepancies in heights would be fun.
You should get Mirror Universe Cisco. That probably doesn't exist.
Jerry Ryan is tall, yeah?
Yeah.
Like if those are actually life size?
She's not as tall as
I don't know that those are to scale though. They probably aren't.
They probably are.
Right?
She's not as tall as Worf.
I mean, there's no way that Bakula
Dorn
is that close to Dorn's height. I wouldn't think.
Yeah, I feel like Bakula is like kind of short, right?
Buster Sim says because this generic derivative overland on references to past tracks to my meaning out of nostalgia while being for the fans. Yeah, I mean that's true. HB Haga, which Dax cap? I don't know why you have to ask that question. I mean, it ain't gonna be Esri.
AMC Comics
I don't like
favorite Federation uniforms.
She's better as it goes along. But
So I like the DS9 uniforms, but they don't work on everyone.
we were talking about this with Generations last night. Yeah.
Yeah, Picard in Generations, he does not fit that uniform.
You think he looks weird with the black with the red on top instead of flipped?
Yeah, I really do think that. I do like the First Contact uniforms a lot. And I like the
somebody's coming downstairs
Enterprise
here.
uniforms.
Jason, I'm going up trying to find it. Somebody asked about favorite starships.
Favorite star? Oh yeah. It was down.
Was it down a little bit?
Yeah. Loose Cox.
Mikey, your movie's done? Okay,
Whoa.
come here for a minute. Everybody say hi to Mikey. Mikey, we're making a video, man.
We're talking
shooting
about
live
Star
right now,
Trek.
and we're talking about Star Trek.
Look at all the Star Trek stuff over there.
Would you like to talk about Star Trek for a minute?
Maybe later.
Maybe later. Real quick, could you tell us your favorite Star Trek character?
Don't know who it is yet.
You don't know who it is? He was playing with a tricorder earlier. Was that pretty cool? That phaser?
Do you like Spock?
That's the only character that has those two.
No. But do you like Spock? He's in Star Trek.
A little bit.
Yeah?
Okay, go find Freddy, and he'll get you a snack, okay? And then we'll be done here in a little bit. And tell him I told you or him to get you a snack, okay? Anyway, do you see it?
Yeah,
We're-
it's down there.
Somebody was asking
It's
where.
right there. It's Loose Cox.
Lewis Cox. Hey, Cap, Jason, what are your favorite starships in Star Trek? At least he didn't say treeks. What's your favorite Star Treeks starships?
My favorite starship? I really like the NX-01.
I've talked about this a lot. It's my favorite.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous that it's that era, but the NX-01 is my absolute favorite. I thought about when I got this tattoo. I thought about doing an NX-01 tattoo.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's I don't know.
I love it so much. I had
really
to get
like
the
it.
toy.
I like how thin it is. You know, it's kind of like.
Oh, it's sleek.
Yeah, it's very sleek. It's very and it's very futuristic looking, even though it's not in the future very much.
You know what we should have done? We should have gotten out the laptop and just shot this over with all the Star Trek
Yeah,
stuff.
we should have.
So that I didn't have to keep getting away from the desk. But yeah, that's my favorite ship design. And it's just an Akira class. So, I mean, it is a 24th century design that they just basically repurposed and tweaked a little bit and then put in Enterprise and said, this predates the Constitution. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But not that I hold things to New Trek standards, but if you held any of this to New Trek standards, like, that's the least egregious and, you know, aesthetically offensive thing you can do as far as being consistent.
Honestly, this looks
with the
better on the show.
Oh, you think?
In the show than on toy.
I think it's really pretty.
In toy form. I don't know. Yeah.
Obviously, the D is wonderful.
Yep.
I've always loved the saucer step thing.
And I like the E.
Now, that's divisive. Some people really don't like the E.
Okay. Well,
But
I like the
I
E.
always liked it.
I like the E. I like the B too.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the B. I'm not a big fan of the Excelsior
Do
design
you
in
like
general.
the Defiant?
Yeah, I like the Defiant a lot.
Yeah.
That I was gonna say that's
Do you
probably
like the Voyager?
yeah, Voyager's good. But I was gonna say the Defiant's probably in my top 3.
Yeah.
That would probably be second.
Does the
or
TOS
third.
shuttle count?
No, that's not a ship. That's a shuttle.
Because that would be my favorite. I love the ships.
DNA put in a $1 super chat. To put in a $1 super chat. Thanks, man.
Dang.
Peter Weller, thank you guys for. See, this is why we do shows live, so
Who's
that
Peter Weller?
RoboCop, so that when we forget something, it'll show up, and we don't have to have like a million comments after the fact that say, "Hey, you mooks, you don't know the name of this thing." Senior Sticks, who's your favorite Worf? What? There's one Worf, and there's only one actor that played him. I don't understand.
My favorite is the one in Star Trek 6.
No, I mean, I can... Oh, maybe that's why you said that, yeah. Because I was going to say, you could look at them... They're not different characters, but there's different eras of Worf.
Right.
You know? So you could say I'm a fan of TNG Worf, DS9 Worf, or movie Worf, I guess.
Or Season 1 Worf is very different than...
Even than 3 and 4
Worf, yeah.
That is true. Yeah, Donnie Pearson, we were talking about that with Peter Weller. Who's your favorite Worf? My favorite Worf is Colonel Worf. Colonel Worf!
That movie, I watched that for the first time a couple weeks ago. That movie is not good.
I had the worst viewing I've ever had of Star Trek
Me
6.
too, and it was the first viewing I ever... I'm not going back to that movie anytime soon.
Lewis Cox's favorite ship is Defiant. Donnie Pearson loves the Defiant. And he says in Voyager among my honorable mentions. What did he say? Oh, NX-01 likes that one too. What is your actual favorite? You just keep saying honorable mentions. What's your actual favorite ship? I can't find it. Well, oh, everybody said hi to Mikey. He missed it, but we'll tell him that you guys said hi. Hey, let's not go over an hour, but anything else about Star Trek you wanna talk about? We hit some favorite characters. We've done favorite episodes before.
We have.
So there's probably no need to rehash too much of that.
I did. Did
you put lists in for those?
I put lists in for like 2 of those.
Okay, no, this will be fun. Because we're going to watch some more Star Trek this week on our own.
Yeah.
And this can help us decide on some episodes. So I'm going to throw a series at you, and you tell me the first episode that comes to mind that you would just love to sit down and watch.
That I would just love to sit down and watch.
Yeah. Now, DS9, you've only seen a few episodes, so I don't know if you would have one there.
Okay.
I'll start there.
All right.
And we'll just do that.
Okay, just the first episode that comes to mind that let's just sit down and watch.
That you would actually want to watch, yeah. Okay. Not the first thing that comes to mind, because that's not fair. Because if the first thing that comes to mind is an episode you hate, then we have to watch an episode you don't like.
You're right, but that would be funny as well. So. All right.
And DS9, go.
Dax.
The episode Dax.
Yes.
I don't remember exactly what happens.
It's the one where she gets kidnapped.
Oh. Have you seen the one where she has to... Where her friends embody previous hosts of Dax?
No.
That one's cool. I should show you that.
Okay. Yes.
That's a really good character piece. Okay. Enterprise.
Sim.
Sim.
I love Sim.
I was thinking about showing Freddy Anomaly
Yeah.
because I thought he would think that was really funny.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
That's the one where with the chair, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just obsessed with.
I think that's the one
Archer's
episode
chair?
he has seen of that because you
Oh.
love that episode. So,
Okay.
no, we should show him.
It's not even that I love it so much as it's fun to watch
Yeah.
people watch it.
Yeah.
You know what we could show him though? We could show him.
In a Mirror Darkly.
Well, yeah, but what is? I can't remember the name of it right off. Why is that not coming to me? Well, anyway, the one right after Minefield where they go to the repair station.
I don't think I ever watched that episode.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'll show you guys that one because that one's really cool. It's an easy episode title too, and I just can't think of it. Okay, TNG.
Oh, TNG. Matter Time.
We're jumping around. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah, this is the first one that came to mind. The first one that came to mind was The Child, but I don't want to watch that one. So.
Do you know who wrote that?
Who wrote
Matter Time?
Matter Time? Who?
Berman.
Oh, Berman. Oh.
Rick Berman wrote that.
Rick Berman.
Rick Berman, who
wrote.
drives me nuts and made some of the biggest, poorest executive decisions that he could have made that messed up a lot of stuff during that era, wrote my favorite episode of that show. And that started my love affair with Matt Frewer. I love Matt Frewer. TOS.
TOS.
Yes. Dead stop. Thank you, Busted Sim.
TOS. If I could think of any Cloudminders.
Busted Sim, I'm rusty, man. I have been not actively engaging with Star Trek for like 3 years. Well, 2. I mean, we were doing a Star Trek club, but really after that, I just kind of disconnected pretty hard.
Yeah.
Cloudminders.
I love Cloudminders.
Yeah. Season 3.
Cloudminders one's my favorite. That's one of my favorite TOS episodes.
Good old gamer. You guys should watch the DS9 episode where Ben and Jake make that Bajoran sail ship. So that episode is called Explorers. And do you know about that?
No.
That's got a line that became infamous in my old Star Trek club. It's hammock time. Voyager.
Voyager. What's the episode with the one with the anomalies all over the ship?
I mean, it's Voyager, but so that happens a lot. But I know
The
what
time anomalies all over the
you're
ship.
talking about. Shattered,
Shattered,
which is
yes.
a Chakotay focused episode from
Yes.
the 7th season. Yeah.
Yes, is that 7th season? I thought that was 5th season.
It is, and season 7 is not great, so it's one of its better episodes. But yeah. Busted Sim, have you guys ever watched The Thalia Web followed immediately within a Mirror Darkly? That's a fun experience. I don't know if I actually have done that.
We should watch Mirror
In
Mirror.
like close enough succession. But
Tholian Web in Mirror Darkly.
that's actually a really good idea.
And then crossover.
I knew you were going to say that. Jason loves crossover.
I love crossover. Well, it's really, it's not great, but it's also, yeah.
Hi there, Psych2234. He says, wow, I haven't watched Geekvolution in a long time. Jason has really grown up. He
This is
certainly
me growing
has.
up.
Well done. That was good. That was like a time lapse
Yeah,
video.
I don't know how to like change my hairstyle because it's changed so much in past like 5 years.
Oh, and Psych, I've changed a lot too. I have tattoos and stuff. Things have gotten wild.
Yeah, and he has long hair too.
Here at Geekvolution, yeah. But one of the reasons that I was glad we decided to do this, Jason, was just to kind of gauge interest in Star Trek on the channel since it's been so long since we've done any. And if this is any indication, it's going to be a good idea to bring it back. I think we still have that contingent of folks that love Trek and would love to hang out with us and engage with us about it. So.
Yeah,
Oh, thanks, Liz Cox. I appreciate that.
we've had a good audience.
He called me a cool dad. What a guy. Jason.
I would never do that.
Name
Name.
think of, this is going to be super broad, but we're gonna end off on this.
Okay.
Just throw me a cool factoid that you know about Star Trek that you think that at least some of the audience will not be aware of.
I don't know. What is that question? What is that?
Well, because you just you've
question?
learned a lot about Star Trek, and
Well, yeah.
you might know something cool other people don't know. And you're like a research guy.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, name.
Yeah.
Do you have a thing?
William Shatner did a cover of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. It's great. You should check it out.
A lot of people are aware of that.
Yes.
Name a one-off character in TNG.
In TNG?
Yeah, name somebody that's only in one episode.
Only in one episode. Ooh.
That's not Berlinghoff Rasmussen. Because you just brought up a matter
I was
of time.
I was trying to think of the name of that guy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I should have done that.
Galrod?
No, Gowron's in multiple episodes.
Dang it.
And he's all over DS9.
I knew he was all over DS9. I thought he was only in one off character in WoW. What's her face?
We've degenerated into stuttering.
What's her face from the game?
She's actually in 2 episodes.
What?
Yeah, she shows up again one more time. But
No.
that's Robin Leffler.
Yeah, Robin Leffler.
Yeah.
She's terrible.
I was sitting here trying to remember the first name of the guy, but you brought up Survivors, and I remember Uxbridge, but I can't think of his first name. You remember them?
Yes.
Because you don't like that episode?
Yeah.
Well, folks, thanks a lot for hanging out with us and watching us talk randomly about Star Trek.
Yes.
We're not going to have a regular schedule this week because my wife's out of town and I'm taking care of the kids, but we may do 1 or 2 more kind of random fun streams like this, and I'm going to be doing the 3rd 24-hour Smallville stream Friday night starting at 10 o'clock. John and I are going through Season 3. It's Counting Crypt the Freaks, The Revenge, so pop in for part or all of that if you want to be nuts and stay up with us all night. And in the meantime, I was Captain Logan.
I was Jason.
Thanks, guys. I hope you had a good time.